Let me ask you something. Who's really in control of your life? Is it your boss, your bills, your past mistakes, or the people who criticize you online? Or is it you? Most people live as if their happiness depends on everything around them: money, status, approval, circumstances. But the Stoics knew the truth. Your mindset is everything. If you can master your mind, nothing can break you. Over to 0.000 years ago, they wrote words so powerful that if you take them seriously, they can transform the way you see yourself, the way you deal with stress, and the way you live your life. Today I'll share with you 3 Stoic quotes that can completely change your mindset, not just in theory but in practice, so you can handle chaos, disappointment, and pressure with unshakable calm. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we take Stoic philosophy, the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius Seneca, an epic teacher, and turn it into tools you can actually use in modern life. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or trapped in negative thinking, stay with me, because these 3 quotes are not just words to admire. They're a roadmap to freedom. By the end of this video, you'll see how your mindset can shift from fragile to unshakable. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher, emperor of Rome, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Take a moment and really let that sink in. Most people believe they're powerless because they can't control everything around them. But Marcus is saying that's not where your strength is. Your strength lies in controlling your own mind. Think about how much energy we waste on things we can't control: the weather, traffic, the opinions of other people. Maybe someone at work doesn't like you. Maybe a stranger online insults you. Maybe something from your past still haunts you. You can't control those things. But what you can control is your response. Do you let it consume you, or do you rise above it? Imagine being stuck in traffic. One person rages, honks, curses, and ruins their whole day. Another person in the exact same traffic turns on an audiobook, breathes deeply, and accepts it. The traffic didn't change, but the mindset did. That's the power Marcus is talking about. Modern psychology calls this the locus of control. People with an internal locus of control, people who focus on what they can change instead of what they can't, are happier, calm, and more resilient. So, how do you apply this in your own life? Every time you feel overwhelmed, stop and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, let it go. Marcus led an empire under constant war and political chaos. He couldn't control the invasions, the plagues, or the betrayals. But he could control his discipline, his decisions, and his mind. And that's why his words still guide us centuries later. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Let that sink in. How many times have you suffered, not because of what actually happened, but because of what you imagined might happen? Anxiety is suffering before suffering. Picture this: you have an important presentation at work. For days you're anxious, you can't sleep. You imagine the worst, forgetting your words, people laughing, your boss frowning. By the time the day comes, you've already suffered 100 times in your mind, and when the presentation actually happens, it goes fine, maybe not perfect, but not nearly as bad as you feared. That's what Seneca means. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Our brains love to create worst-case scenarios. It's a survival instinct, but in modern life, it often becomes torture. Stoicism teaches us to break that cycle. When you catch yourself worrying, write it down. Ask, what's the worst-case scenario if it happened? Could I survive it 9 times out of 10? The answer is yes, and once you realize that, fear loses its grip on you. Seneca himself faced exile, betrayal, and constant danger. Yet he wrote about calm, courage, and focusing on what is real. He knew that fear in the mind was often worse than pain in reality. And when you adopt this perspective, You free yourself from half of life's unnecessary suffering. Think of a student terrified of failing an exam. In their mind, failure means their whole life is ruined. But in reality, failing an exam is not the end. It's feedback. It means you need to study differently. It means you try again. The suffering comes not from the event, but from the story the mind tells. Change the story and you change the suffering. Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of the greatest teachers of philosophy, said it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Life is unpredictable. You can lose your job, get betrayed by a friend, face illness, or watch a plan collapse. But Epictetus reminds us those events do not define you. Your reaction does. Two people can go through the same hardship and come out completely different. One breaks and falls into despair. The other becomes stronger and wiser. The difference is not in the event, but in the reaction. Think about professional athletes. One loses a game and says, "I'm worthless." Another loses the same game and says, "This is fuel to improve." Same event, different story, different outcome. How can you apply this? Start by creating a pause between what happens and how you respond. Something bad happens, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, is my reaction making this better or worse? That small pause is where wisdom lives. Over time, this becomes a habit, and your emotions stop controlling you. You control them. Epictetus himself lived with pain and limitation. His master once broke his leg, leaving him disabled, yet he didn't let that define him. He turned his suffering into teaching that has inspired millions. If he could transform pain into power, so can you. So let's put it all together. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. Seneca teaches us not to suffer twice by torturing ourselves with imagination. And Epictetus teaches us to choose our reaction, because that's where our power truly lies. These are not just ancient quotes. They are living tools. They are mental armor. If you take them seriously, they will reshape your mindset, reduce your stress, and give you strength you didn't know you had. Remember, this strength is in your mind. Fear is often in your imagination, and your reaction is always your choice. Transform your mindset and you transform your life. If this video gave you something valuable, hit like. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe for weekly Stoic wisdom, and tell me in the comments, which of these 3 quotes do you need the most right now? I'd love to read your answers.